Moving as quickly as they could through the camp, the three tried their best to make it seem like nothing was wrong, hurriedly walking past others to get straight to the lady's tent. Once there, Kirishima, the one leading the charge, reached out to pull back the entrance flap leading into the tent, but he paused, with the cloth between his fingertips. "My lady?" Sending confused glances towards each other, Sarah let out a shrug towards Denki's questionable expression, before the blonde stepped forward to grab his friend's elbow. Kirishima's eyes flickered to the side, giving his comrade his attention. "What are you doing? Just go inside," Denki whisper shouts, causing Kirishima's brows to furrow. "We don't know if she's in there. It'd be rude to just go in." The redhead quietly argued back, causing Denki to deadpan to further deepen, while Sero just facepalmed as the two started to bicker. "Just go inside." "No, we don't know if she's in there or not." "I told you she isn't." They continued to go back and forth until Sero clasped a hand onto both of their shoulders, pulling them apart. "How about we just go in there and continue fighting after?" he whispered, clearly annoyed, but before the two could argue back, "Come in." A voice calls from within the tent, and the three set their eyes snapping up to its direction, brows furrowed in shock and confusion now. And after a few seconds, Sarah pushes the two forward, moving them to step through the entrance of the tent. "What are you?" "She told us to go in," he shouted to the two when Kirishima turned to question. Looking away from each other, the three easily spotted the figure sitting idly on the bed set up in the corner, legs dangling off the side with her purposeful, smooth-out dress atop it all. Then the two snapped out of their attention in Denki's direction, holding Dinpen's expression when Denki stared, eyes wide, mouth agape, clearly flabbergasted. And after a few moments of silence, the haired-colored girl blinked towards the three, her own brows furrowing in confusion now. "Did you guys come to bring me my food, or—" She slowly questions. The two standing beside the still too shocked to move blonde quickly stiffened their posture. No, sorry, my lady. We'll be out of your hair now." Sarah speaks, head bowing slightly. The black-haired soldier steps back to leave, and Kirishima clears his throat. "If you don't mind me asking," he starts, glancing around the tent a bit. "You didn't leave or anything, right?" the redhead asks, making Yin tilt her head in an innocent manner. "Of course not," she answers easily. "Why would I leave? You three know how dangerous it is for me to be out. And without my guards, no less," she sharply reminds, earning a collective nod between the three before waving a hand at them. "Now, if you are done asking me meaningless questions, you all know where the door is," she dismisses, a kind of finality in her words. Without a second thought, though, Kirishima and Sero back away, turning to leave before Kirishima reaches back, grabbing the back of Denki's collar and dragging him with them when the blonde made no move to leave. Still speechless, the blonde makes a few seconds of displeasable noises, nearly falling back as he stumbled out of the tent. As soon as those flaps closed from behind the three, Yin couldn't help but sigh in relief. Whew. Soon shifting her laughter at the rather funny encounter, her eyes casted to the side, looking over the still partly lifted part of the tent she had just come through. They definitely did not see it, she idly thought, thanking her quirk for a moment before stepping up and fixing the side for the next time they came in. Stepping out of the tent, the two turned to their blonde friend, his hands coming up defensively as he stammered. "I'm telling you, she wasn't there. I saw it." He tried to exclaim, but the two just sent him each other a look of disapproval. "Maybe you saw the outside of the tent," Sarah grumbled under his breath, his words clearly heard by the other two and earning a nod from Kirishima. "You're still on watch duty now, and you're going to do the first shift tonight," the redhead claims with Sarah nod in his vote. "But she wasn't there." The blonde stampers, completely disbelief at everything that was happening, while the two turned and started walking off, leaving him there to think about what he had just gained him extra hours of work. Time skip. The shout for dinner caused me to tilt my head up, soon hearing a polite, "My lady," from the entrance of the tent that caused me to move into a sitting position much familiar to the one I had been in earlier when the three had entered. "Come in," I answered, patting down my dress's skirt and letting the red head push back the flaps to enter, showcasing a sort of tray in his hands. "Here, it's still pretty hot, so be careful," he comments as he nears, setting the food at the foot of the bed before stepping back to give me my space. I look over the tray, trying my best not to grimace at whatever you'd want to call it. That, to be honest, it looked like mixed with slop. I let out a slow chuckle, glancing up to the soldier nervously and in the most polite way possible. I reached out and tried to push the tray a little further away from myself. "Is there anything else on the menu?" I questioned, causing his crimsoned eyes to flicker over to the tray for a second before he chuckles and lifts his arm to rub the back of his neck. "Sorry, I guess it makes sense that noble women get fed better than soldiers," he comments, sweat dropping through his words when I just nod in agreement. "It's fine. I should expected this." I smiled, eyeing what people like him called food. Ugh. "When I get home, I'm going to need to have a talk with my father and investing in new soldier food, and chefs for that matter." This soup looked like liquid embodiment of depression anxiety. He kind of just stands there for a moment, watching me stare at the food before clearing his throat. "It's really not that bad once you try it." I raise an eyebrow at him, clear disbelief in his words while he brings his hand up in surrender. "Come on, I'm serious." He smiles, showing me those sharp teeth yet again. "You're saying it isn't that bad?" I questioned, lifting my hand from the tray to poke at a side of the bowl consisting of broken dreams. "Wait, don't, ow!" I cursed, drawing my hand back quickly to avoid further burning my finger from the scalding bowl. "I told you it was hot," he scolds, getting down on one knee to be at my level as he grabs the back of the recoiled hand to pull it towards him. "No, you didn't." "Yes, I did," he argues, now looking over my closed palm while I fall silent. He brings up his other hand to pull at the finger that I touched the bowl with, making me uncurl my fingers in the process. "It's a little red, but," he states, voice trailing off as he continues to look at the damage caused, rubbing his finger over the burn before pressing at it. "Ouch," I mutter, causing him to look up and sigh. "Sorry, I'm just cooling it down, since my hands are pretty cold right now," he explains, causing me to nod. The air falls silent after that, him just making sure any part of my hand was okay before nodding to himself. "Okay," he says, idly glancing up to meet my eyes. He then pauses, staring at me while I have no issue staring back at him. And not a moment later he stands, shuffling before me with his arms at his side and his head bowed. "I'm sorry," he calls while I bring my hand back in to look over it myself. He was right. The skin on my fingertip was now a little pink, but before it would have been red like he said earlier. "I didn't mean to argue with you earlier. It was kind of an the moment thing, and I touched you without your permission. I'm sorry, it won't happen again." "Thank you," I breathe, glancing up at him and causing his words to fall silent. "What?" he says under his breath, lifting his head from its once bowed position to stare at me in confusion. "I said I thank you," I repeated genuinely before turning back to my dinner tray at the foot of the bed. "I'll be sure to eat it slowly. You should hear if I burn myself again," I joke, sending a dismissal wave his way. After a few moments he nods, muttering words of goodbye before backing away and making his way back to the entrance, this time to exit. And once he's gone, I reach over and lifted the tray to my lap, blowing on the soup before picking up a spoon and chicken out to eat it. With a sigh, I moved the tray to the side again, grabbing at the bread sitting beside the bowl and munching away with my eyes trailed over to the exit the soldier had just left from. and while chewing I can't help but glance down at the once hurt finger. I smiled, brightening my expression as I recalled the little encounter I had.